Hey guys, welcome to Quasi Cat Customs. So today I'm going to be revealing my new Custom Ranger Marsh figure and kind of just showing you guys some pictures of the whole process and just telling you some very basic steps that I went through on making him, just to kind of inspire you guys on, making your own if you ever consider it. So this is the original figure that I had that I was going to use. It was just one of the cheap cake toppers, and sadly she was missing half her head. I was really scared to see how it would turn out, because that was a little bigger of a project than I was originally hoping for, but it surprisingly turned out pretty good. So basically what I did to start was I filled in her entire head, just smoothed it out so that you couldn't see where the plastic met the clay that I used to rebuild that missing part of her head. So at that point, once I got the basic head repaired, then what I did was I went ahead and got some of the clay and basically just started molding that hair on the side. His hair kind of comes down, kind of like Tweaks, but more like a guy's hair kind of comes down, and just a little more I don't know. You got a picture Tweak's hair is kind of like if a girl has her hair pulled back, kind of like it's more so smooth, kind of around her head, if you can kind of picture that, whilst his is more kind of comes down like a guy's hair. But anyway, so I molded that and used my X-Acto knife and some sandpaper and stuff to kind of smooth down that clay once it has dried. And then I went ahead and started on his little scruff. So I basically just took a piece of clay, used my X-Acto knife to kind of shape it the way I needed it, put the little pieces of his fur, it kind of fans out the little scruff part, and then I just squished down onto his forehead and just smoothed out the line so you couldn't see where his pieces met. At that point, his hair is pretty much done. Now, obviously he needed his hat. So what I did was I just took the clay again, which, by the way, if you're doing this, make sure you use air dry clay, because obviously you do not want to put plastic in the oven. So anyways, I put the little piece of clay on his head, and I just used my fingers just to basically start shaping it, according to how it is in the picture. I just kind of started to shape it with my fingers. Never feel bad if you need to go back and work on it over and over till you get it just right. Don't feel bad, because it is kind of a long process. And at this point, I wasn't so much worried about getting it smooth or anything like that, because that was just going to be a later step. Right now I was just basically trying to get those basic shapes on at this point. So after that, I just took a bit of clay. I wetted it a good bit with my fingers to make it nice and soft and moldable and kind of more sticky, so it was easier to stick on to his hat. So I kind of smoothed it so it was kind of like a long piece, and just put it onto the base of his hat, where the rim would be, and just kind of smoothed it around to make a big circle around his head. Again, at this point, I was not so much worried about getting it perfectly round, perfectly smooth. At this point, I just wanted to get that brim on tight and all attached to the rest of his hat and his head and everything. So at this point, that was what I was mainly focusing on. So once that dried, it only took a couple hours. I went back, and that's when I started more so shaping. I used my X-Acto knife and scissors and stuff, sandpaper, and just went through, tried to get it nice and smooth, and smoothing out those edges, making it nice and clean the best I could get it anyways. And then after that, I went through with my X-Acto knife and put the little bite marks in his hat that he has in the right hand front and left hand back of his hat. Then after that, then I went ahead and kind of mainly focused on his face, facial features and all that. So obviously, one of his biggest trademarks is his mustache. So obviously, he needed that. So I got some clay and squished down to his Tweaks muzzles, and then I just kind of started just forming that mustache. A lot of this I can't really give you guys much info on like how to do it, because it's kind of one of those things that you just kind of have to do yourself, if that makes sense. It's kind of really hard trying to like explain, but basically just use your fingers and your X-Acto knife and just take your time, trying to look at the picture and trying to match it up as best you can. Then after that, I just kind of waited for that to dry and went ahead. Now, this figure that I'm using, this particular one, only had painted on eyes. I wanted on some actual molded eyes. Now, obviously, if you have a more heavy-duty style figure, then they will have the eyes already on, so you don't have to worry about this. But this one, I did have to make the eyes, so I took just little balls of clay, squished them on, molded it till I got the desired expression that I was looking for, and then that was good. So then, at that point, that was pretty much all I had to do with his face so much. That's pretty much all there was to it. So then, while I was waiting for those things to dry, I went ahead and glued back on the ears that have been missing and filled in any cracks on those. And then as far as his clothes went, obviously he has his ranger outfit on, so I was originally planning on using clay to make that, like, clothes and stuff, but it just was kind of a pain and just didn't, this made him look, I didn't like the way it looked, so I just ended up just painting it on. Now, for the paints, you want to make sure that you use like a gloss paint or the satin paints. I think mine I used were the gloss, because the matte ones, they just drip right off of the plastic and stuff. It does not stick on very well. So I went ahead and just mixed up the right paints. The paints that I used were a white, a black, a brown, pink, yellow, and a green were the colors I used for this project. So for his shirt, I mixed the brown, white, and yellow to make that tan collar. And I went ahead and painted his shirt on, and like the buttons and his pockets and just some of those little details on his shirt and his little ranger badge and all that good stuff. And then also, you might notice in the picture that his shirt is kind of like unbuttoned a little at the top. So for that, I went ahead and used my X-Acto knife just to kind of cut a little into the plastic. You do not want to go too deep, and be careful when you're doing this. Make sure, especially if you're on the younger side, you be very careful. And with this whole project, make sure you get your parents' permission before you use X-Acto knives, because it is a very kind of a risky job. I cut myself multiple times with doing stuff with X-Acto knives. They are very dangerous. But anyways, so I went ahead and cut a little bit into the plastic, not real deep of course, and then painted that green like where his fur would be, and painted the collar brown and all that. And at that point, his shirt was pretty much done. Now with the cheap figures, he had some like open inside the arms and legs, so I had to go ahead and fill those in with clay as well. Again, with your regular figures, that won't be a problem, but with this particular one, I had to go ahead and do that. So I did that again, went ahead and painted the arms green just to get a fresher look, so that everything kind of blends in towards the end. Then went ahead and painted his boots kind of like a blackish brown, mostly black. And then I went ahead and painted on his shorts using like a dark green. I used black and green mixed to make like that nice forest green color for his shorts. And then at that point, all the clay was pretty much dry, so I went ahead and painted his face green again, painted his mustache brown, and painted his hat. And I made sure to get the little like band that goes around his hat as well. I just touched up all those little areas that I had to repair and stuff. And then towards the very end, I noticed that he has a tail, obviously, and the figure didn't. So I went ahead and made a little tail and painted that white. And then pretty much after that, he was all done. I went ahead and did some more little touch-ups with paint, little sanding, and got him all ready. Then when I was pretty much satisfied with how he was looking, I went ahead and used some Mod Podge to seal him to make sure that everything was kind of glued in place. So once that was done, I waited for the Mod Podge to dry, and then after that, he was all finished, which was very exciting. So this is him all finished. As you can see, he is not exactly perfect, but I'm very happy with him just being that he was missing half his head. This is a cheap figure. I mean, the proportions were a little off with these cheaper figures. So, considering the circumstances, I'm pretty happy with him. And, hope you guys like him as well. Obviously, if you guys have any questions, you can ask me in the comments and I'll try to clear those up with you. So you know if you have any particular things you're wondering about. So I hope you guys liked watching this. Hopefully all you Ranger Marsh fans have been inspired, maybe making your own if you want. And hopefully you guys just thought this was fun. It was a very fun project. I will warn you though that these can be a bit risky. So if you are planning on trying these, make sure the figure you use, you are okay with. If something were to go wrong, that it's not the end of the world. So please make sure when you're doing this that if it's especially like your first time, you do not use a rare figure, because believe me, things can go wrong very quick. So just to put that out there before I post this video, I do not want you guys to ruin any figures. So make sure you get your parents' permission if you are a kid, and obviously do this at your own risk because it is a risky thing. Also, just a side note, if you have any broken figures, do not give up on them. Don't just throw them in the trash, because even if you aren't, into that sort of thing, just sell them on eBay or just give them away, because people can't fix them. They aren't hopeless until they're in tiny slivers of plastic. Then they sadly are. But if they're just missing literally half their head or their body, do not give up on them. Please don't throw your figures in the trash, because they are not hopeless. They may not come out perfect, but you can definitely, salvage them and, repurpose them as a new figure. So I hope you guys thought this was kind of fun. Hopefully you guys, thought this was informative, hopefully. So hopefully I'll be posting some more videos soon. I have a bunch of really exciting ideas I've been thinking of while I was doing this, of some future projects, and I've also gotten some suggestions for future figures as well. So I'll be sure to have those coming up soon. I have a whole list of ideas, so I'm really excited for that. And of course, feel free to leave any, any requests in the comments. I'll try to get to those as soon as I can as well, add them to my list. So hopefully you guys like watching this, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!